Everybody, welcome back to the Baal Sulam's Matan Torah with commentary by Rabbi Abraham Mordechai Gadliel. In truth, we're actually continuing the essay. We're continuing to the secondary portion called Arvut, which is the mutual guarantee. This is on page 101 of the book Giving. And in short, to transition, if one is starting this class for the first time for some reason, if you want a summary, the last class number 20, is a great summary that goes over all the major points in question and answer form. In general, of course, recommend to go to the whole class to get the full perspective on the way that we reach the state of loving the other. Now we've come to the purpose, which is that we need each other. In short, the way to come to the higher nature that we all desire in the depths of our soul is through Torah and mitzvot, which slowly but surely refines us, and to focus on V'ahavta l'ra'echa kamocha, to love the other as yourself, in contrast to focusing on things relating to us and the Creator. Not to belittle that whatsoever, but it's a 2-for-1 because we get feedback from individuals. So now we're going into the mutual guarantee, which clarifies how much more so it is relevant for us to be united and to assist each other in our journey. It starts off with a quote at the top: all of Israel are guarantors for one another, as said in Sanhedrin 27b and Shuvot 39a from the Talmud Bavli, a Babylonian Talmud. Number 17. The headers read, how can it be that we are accountable for the sins of others? How can it be that we are responsible for the whole world? Before the giving of the Torah, we accepted a mutual guarantee to fulfill each other's needs. If anyone betrays the guarantee, then everyone will betray it. The Baal Sulam begins, and from the above, meaning the previous essay of Matan Torah, we can understand one of the puzzling statements of our sages, namely, that all of Yisrael are guarantors for one another. This seems completely unjust. Could it be that someone sins and angers his maker, and although you have no acquaintance or relationship with this person, the Holy One collects the sinner's debt from you? In Scripture it is written, quote, fathers will not be put to death for children. Every man will be put to death for his own sin, as said in Devarim or Deuteronomy 24:16. So how can the sages say that you are accountable even for the sins of a person completely foreign to you, when you are neither familiar with this person nor with his or her place of origin? And if that's not difficult enough, take a look at Kedushin 40b. Rabbi Elazar, the Rebbe Rabbi Shimon, says, quote, since the world is judged according to its majority, and the individual is judged according to his or her majority of actions, someone who performs one commandment is fortunate, for that person has tipped the scale of the side of merit for himself or herself and for the whole world. Woe to someone who performs one sin, for he or she has tipped the scale to the side of demerit for himself or herself and for the whole world. As Scripture says, quote, but one sinner destroys much good, as said in Koheles or Ecclesiastes 9:18. We've spoken a lot in Matan Torah about the notion of our unified soul, and how if we sin, speak Lashon Hara, God forbid, and things of this nature, not only are we shooting ourselves in the foot, we're shooting a bullet in the bottom of the boat when everyone's on it. If we're all one soul, then we all need each other and we all affect the rest of humanity with all of our actions. It's a beautiful poetic point to learning the Chokhmah, and learning these things is just to understand the importance of everything we do and how truly special everyone's mission is. The Baal Sulam continues, thus Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, has made me responsible even for the whole world, For according to him, everyone in the world is responsible for one another, and each individual's act create merit or demerit for the whole world. This is an additional astonishing statement on top of the other. However, according to what we have clarified above, their words are easily perceived to be understandable and acceptable. For we clearly demonstrated that every single one of the 613 mitzvot in the Torah revolves around the pivot of the one commandment, quote, and love your fellow as yourself. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. And this pivotal commandment cannot be fulfilled without an entire nation whose every member is prepared to do so. And this is the matter of the mutual guarantee, ha'arvut, when all of Israel became guarantors for one another, because the Torah was not given to them until each and every Israelite was asked if he or she agreed to take upon himself or herself the commandment of loving the other in the full measure expressed in the verse, quote, and love your fellow as yourself. The Baal Shalom has here in parentheses, as explained in sections 2 and 3, examine each word carefully there. I love to go there with you. I recommend reading it again on your own time. The Baal Shalom does not waste words. So if he mentions to go to a particular point, he does so all the time in his different books, more so the deeper books with the Chochmah Ha'emet, the true wisdom itself. That's highly recommended to go there. It's kind of fun to do so because you end up kind of going in a rabbit hole because each one kind of leads you to another one and you're just constantly doing review, as we all should be doing. He continues, this means that each and every one of us in Israel will take upon ourselves to care about and work for each member of the nation to fill all of his or her needs to no less a degree than the measure imprinted in ourselves to care for our own needs. Once the whole nation unanimously agreed and said, quote, we will do and we will hear, the famous statement, Na'aseh v'nishma, as said in Exodus 24:7. Each member of Israel became a guarantor that not a single thing will be lacking from any member of the nation. Only then did they become worthy of receiving the Torah, and not before, because this collective responsibility, each member of the nation was liberated from worrying about the needs of his or her own body and could keep the commandment of, and love your fellow as yourself, in all its measure. Each person knew for certain that he or she was surrounded by 600,000 loyal lovers who were standing ready to take care of him or her, as explained in section 16. Therefore, each individual could freely give all of his or her possessions to anyone in need, since there was no need for concern regarding the maintenance of his or her own body. Guf. The body, the guf, of course, in the Chochmah, relating to the will to receive. Our body is a physical manifestation of our will to receive because it needs to receive in order to survive. So as we develop ourselves, we attempt to receive what minimal needs we need and to give our utmost to the other around us. Meaning, true freedom is to be free from the clause of the will to receive. The freedom of America, let's say, not getting too political about what it is or what it was, but the notion of freedom is understandably so not as developed as the spiritual side of what freedom is. Freedom being I can finally act, I can finally do something for the other without self-concern. That's truly being freed from the shackles. That's truly being freed from our personal Mitzrayim, our personal Egypt, where we are enslaved by the Tsar, the Mitzrayim, the narrowness of consciousness that wants to encapsulate and consume the whole universe, as opposed to giving to the other. The Rebbe Shlita says, on the comment of Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear, The meaning of we will hear is, quote, we will understand and will accept the idea. Thus, hearing hints at perceiving the benefit of the idea. The people of Israel said, in effect, quote, we are prepared to accept the spiritual work of and love your fellow as yourself, despite the ego's opposition and depiction of negative images. Because surely, if we go on the path, the true path of attempting to walk the middle line, as all the Chokhmah is saturated with, to describe to us what it means to walk the true path of balancing, feeling completion, and still criticizing oneself and the opportunities one has in order to develop oneself. And therefore, finding even the joy, the perfection in the lack, and therefore walking the middle line. So much more to be said about it. I recommend, if one reads Hebrew, to look into the Maimarim, the essays of the Rebbe Zitzal, or Baruch Shalom Ashlag. We have many of them on our website. Barkat Shalom, Bracha V'Shalom, and the like. So, if one's ego experiences opposition, and they're really trying to do the work, will they feel and see the negativity? The goof, the body will fight back to the nth degree. Because the will to receive doesn't want to die. But in truth, at the end of it all, when we correct ourselves, God willing, speedily and soon, it'll be corrected, as we've spoken about so much, that we'll be able to receive in order to give. In other words, like the words of Chazal, sages of the Talmud, the Mishnah, Gemara, the angel of death will become a holy angel, meaning our will to receive will be corrected. We'll be able to receive properly. He continues, we don't see the benefit in the idea, but we're willing to begin this spiritual work. We believe that we'll definitely see the great benefit after we perform the deeds involved. So, in essence, we're saying, Emunah, we're saying that we have faith that all will be well and all will come. First, we're just going to do, and then we'll experience, then we'll understand. And the Rebbe Shlita will go a little bit more into this notion of how it's relating to Emunah, to faith. But because it's a matter of doing, aseh, na'aseh v'nishma, aseh is from the lashon of asiyah, of doing, which is corresponding to mitzvot, which is corresponding to the lowest spiritual world of asiyah, as we do mitzvot and refine ourselves with our body physically, and more importantly, with intention, but mixing the two together. And the world of asiyah is corresponding to the lowest sphira. The bottom of the sphirot is Malchut. Malchut is relating to humility, translating to kingship, dominion, and the like. Because Emunah in itself is an act of giving. To say, I don't need to receive, I don't need to understand, because receiving knowledge, receiving understanding in itself is a form of receiving. It's an intellectual type receiving. And so, to still push forward, despite the challenges of the goof, and to have Emunah, is giving in itself, in the highest sense of the word. So the Bishita continues. The meaning of we will do, according to Bala Sulam, is, quote, we have faith and are willing to put aside our understanding. Most difficult task. This is the secret known to the angels, as said in Tehillim, Psalms 103:20, quote, bless God, you angels of his, you mighty ones who perform his bidding, hearkening to the voice of his word. First perform, then hearkening. Rabbi Baruch Shalom Ashlag explained that the people of Israel were not stupid when they said, quote, we will do and we will hear. They were people with intelligence and capable of careful consideration and critique. And the more an individual has understanding, the more difficult it is for that individual to annul it and to choose to do the will of the Creator. Thus, Israel chose to be like animals, as in the verse in Tehillim 36:7, quote, God, you save man and beast. The verse is explained in Chulin 5b of the Talmud. God saves, quote, those who have clever minds befitting people, but make themselves like animals. Add in brackets, in humility. To be like animals in humility. Why? Animal or beast in Hebrew is behemah. Behemah is gematria 52. 52 is the gematria of ban. There's several letter combinations and numerical values that are corresponding to different fillings of the Creator's four-letter name, different values and revelations and levels of experiencing the Creator, the lowest one being corresponding to this ban, which is also corresponding to Asiya and Malchut. Malchut is relating to humility. So Behema, having the same gematria of Ban, has an intimate connection, meaning to say that a Behema, to lower oneself and be like an animal, and be on all fours, as opposed to standing upright, perhaps with your stiff neck looking upwards as if you know what's going on. Rather, put it to the side, do the Creator's will. As difficult and anti to the ego as that is, that's the work. Behema is also ba, ma, or ma, ba. What's in it? What's in this? Meaning to say we're constantly asking ourselves, what's in it for me? The negative side of our animal desire says, I'm only going to do something if it has a flavor, if it has a taste. So we say, doesn't matter if there's going to be a taste or not. We have faith that eventually we'll be gifted the taste. In the meantime, we're going to do the work. So Bishita continues. For this reason, they were not ready to receive the Torah from the time of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, but only when they came out of Egypt and became a complete independent nation. Only then was created a condition where everyone could feel secure regarding his or her needs, without any care or concern at all. This is in contrast to the situation that they were still mingling with the Egyptians, when a portion of their needs was necessarily given to the hands of these wild foreigners who were full of self-love. Under this circumstance, the portion under the control of foreigners would not at all be guaranteed for each Israeli individual, because his or her friends would not be able to provide for those needs that are not under their control. And has already been explained, so long as you are troubled with concerns for yourself, you are completely unfit even to begin to keep the commandment of and love your fellow as yourself. That's not to mean that you're incapable or you're far necessarily. I think the Rebbe Shita is just bringing a principle that to begin fulfilling the commandment of and love your fellows yourself, which is the tip top of the goal that we can get to reach such a level of consciousness, to truly do that. If you have any self-concern, then you're far from it. You're not in similarity of form with true love and giving to the other, which is the characteristic of the Creator. I think that's all that's meaning to say. Tov, I'm so happy to continue Matan Torah and go into the secondary portion of the essay of Ha'arvut. It's a beautiful essay, and I look forward to continuing next time. God willing. Speeding soon. All the best. Actually, before I go, I'll just check if anyone's on here. Tov? I don't see any questions. Alrighty. Kol Tuv. All the best.